Hi, everybody. One of the things we want to talk about today is about how to handle 1099s at the end of the year. And in this video, we're going to talk about, first of all, what is a 1099? Secondly, what are the challenges around this process? And for a lot of you who may be watching this, you already kind of know what the challenges are, especially if you run a small business. You've probably had to deal with this in the past. And then we're going to share with you our best advice on how to handle these things going forward, because there's a specific strategy that we feel like works really, really well. And you may have heard this before, you may not have, but I think it will be very helpful to you. So first of all, let's talk about what is a 1099. So the Internal Revenue Service wants to know income that people earn, especially individual people who have side gigs, if you will. So essentially think about it as services that are being provided to other companies. So this can be consultants, it can be bookkeepers, it can be anyone who's providing some work for you. And oftentimes the reason that we have to do the 1099 is because they've not incorporated. And so the IRS wants to know that we've spent more than $600 with any one vendor. Okay. And specifically in this video, we're talking about non-employee compensation, but there can be other kinds of 1099s as well that you might have to supply to the IRS. For instance, rents, royalties, other kinds of payments that are made to vendors that you pay for. And all of these have to be filed by January 31st of each year. So now we know kind of what they are. They definitely revolve around vendors that you pay. So what are the challenges of this, and what are the consequences if you don't do it and don't do it correctly? Well, the challenges are, of course, that there are all kinds of different payments that might fall into a 1099 category. So just navigating through that can have its own challenges. Keeping track of the paperwork that is involved with all of it, including gathering a W-9 from everybody, et cetera, et cetera. All of that stuff can complicate matters. Filing them is not all that hard. We have to identify vendors in the software so that they're easily tracked, that type of thing. But if you have help in being able to do it, it can certainly clear the clutter, in other words. So those are the challenges with it. And the consequences that can come of it can be severe for a company that is not doing it appropriately. Now, personally, in my own career, I have not seen people audited in the past, but at the same time, I know that with the recent tax law changes and things like that, the IRS may be honing in more on the 1099s. We don't know, when or if, someone might get audited. So the sheer fact that the IRS can decide at any time, you want to make sure that you're doing it correctly and that everything is covered and that you're leaving a good paper trail, so that if an IRS agent comes in and wants to investigate this process about your company, that you are covered and that you're not going to get any kind of penalties, etc. So how can you ensure that you do this correctly? So there's a few things that you can do. For instance, one thing that I highly recommend that our clients do, as well as anyone that you may be working with, any company that you work for, is that you always obtain a W-9 as a condition of paying a vendor. So your company can engage with anyone for that matter in terms of services and all that type of stuff, but you want to always ask for a W-9, especially for anyone who is providing services to you. And that can include people like cleaning services, that come and clean your offices. That's a big one, that oftentimes gets missed. But just as a general practice, your business should just say, we're getting a W-9 no matter who we're working with. And before we write a check to anybody, it's a condition of payment for us to have a W-9 on file. A blank W-9 can be found online. So you go out and Google a blank fillable W-9 and it will pop right up. You just save that PDF, keep it on hand at all times. And anyone who is working with suppliers needs to ask for that every single time that you add on a new vendor. Then, if you have an accounting team, whether it's you're hiring full-time people or part-time people or hiring a service to do your accounting for you, always make sure they have those, that those are being attached to the vendor records. You can require your accounting staff, whether you hire it out or hire it in-house, to have a standard operating procedure that basically describes this process, that you always get a W-9, always attach it to the vendor record, always have that information already mapped in the system so that when it comes time to do your 1099s, it's easy. And if you do these things, it will be easy. And so it saves you a lot of heartache if you'll just follow these simple rules. Okay, so today we talked about 1099s, how they can be challenging, why they are challenging, why we want to make sure that this is an easy process for your company, and giving you some advice on how you might want to structure it so that it is actually a much easier process. And it's something that you need to do throughout the year. Do not wait until December or January, for that matter, to try and pull all of this information together. You will pull your hair out. Trust me. I've done that myself. All right. So thanks very much for your attention today. And if you need anything, you can find us at www.corebridge.com. That is spelled COEURBRIDGE. Thank you and have a great day.